Hey everybody, it's Andrew here and welcome back to the channel. So this Friday is a huge day for what's happening in Congress, which could potentially affect Social Security benefits. So let's discuss the details, but before we jump into it, as always, do me a quick favor, hit like, hit subscribe, and share this channel with anyone who you think might find this helpful. This is a community for seniors, and my job here is to be a voice for you. So thank you so much for being a part of our community. And with that said, before we talk about what's happening this Friday, let's do a quick update on daily trending news. Now, in my previous video, we talked about the fact that Joe Manchin is open to potentially doing a smaller stimulus package which focuses on taxes and could potentially include an increase in taxes as far as the payroll tax, which could lead to an increase in Social Security benefits. So that's currently what we're monitoring regarding the stimulus package and Social Security increases. Now, as far as trending news, it just came out that in January, the US government recorded a $119 billion budget surplus, which is the first time it's had a surplus since the pandemic started. Now, with all the stimulus packages and the reduction of taxes coming in because less people were working, this led to the government running on a deficit. But now, with us back being in a surplus, this is really just another reason showing that the government is getting on better footing and they could technically afford to do things like increase benefits and potentially even do that check for seniors that Bernie Sanders is trying to include. Now, also trending in the news is this article on AARP saying, "What are the secrets to a happy retirement?" Now, according to AARP.org, these are the 10 best ways to have a happy retirement. And one of the first ones on this list is having a lot of interests and hobbies. Now, I know that sounds like a simple concept, but you'd be surprised how many people are retired. They just sit around, they watch TV, they don't have a single hobby. Now, of course, hopefully watching my channel is one of your favorite hobbies, but doing things like going hiking, going for walks, volunteering, all of these things are free and are supposed to help lead to a happy retirement. And again, I know that seems simple, but it's supposed to lead to a really happy retirement. And let me know in the comments, guys, what is your favorite interest? And are any of these things things that you picked up while you were already retired? Now, as far as what's happening in politics, AOC has been pushing President Biden once again to use executive action to approve parts of the stimulus package, which they couldn't get done through the Congress. And this includes things like the stimulus check for seniors and canceling student debt. I know a lot of seniors on my channel comment every single day that they still have student loan debt from literally 30, 40 years ago. And President Biden, literally with a swipe of a pen, could cancel student debt for millions of Americans. Now, this was in question as to whether or not he could do this, and it's come out over the last year that technically he does have the power to do so. Now, one of the main problems with this is with Republicans controlling the Supreme Court, there is a chance they could challenge this in court and actually reverse this if President Biden did this. This is why, really, who controls the Supreme Court does have a massive influence, but Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is saying that President Biden should at least try. Now, let me know in the comments, guys. Do you think President Biden should cancel student loan debt, or do you think people should be forced to pay back what they borrowed? Because, honestly, that's on them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, as far as inflation, one of the things I want to point out is people are still spending like crazy. And, data came out that retail sales are through the roof. And really, this just goes to show that those who are middle income or higher income are still doing relatively well. Despite inflation, people are still spending like crazy. And really, it's the people with the lowest incomes, people on fixed incomes like Social Security, SSI, and ssdi. These are the folks that are being hurt the most. And those at the top are continuing to spend, which is leading to inflation getting even worse and worse. Again, just another reason why President Biden should keep his promise and increase benefits across the board as promised. Now, as far as this Friday and why this is such a massive date in Congress, it's because this Friday night at midnight is when the federal government budget has to be extended. Otherwise, we risk another government shutdown. Now, if you've been following my channel for the last couple of years, we've chronicled multiple deadlines and multiple times where the government could have shut down. And generally what ends up happening is they literally wait till the very last day and then they pass a short-term extension to give them a few more months, kick the can down the road, and eventually they end up passing a bill for the entire year. Now, just to recap here, this was supposed to be done literally at the end of September in 2021. So this is about 6 months, kicked down the road already, and they expect to kick it down the road again with a short-term extension, putting it into March or April. Now, over time, we've learned that government shutdowns do affect certain things, but things like getting your benefits like Social Security, SSI, SSDI, your Medicare coverage, all of these benefits, these are considered essential and won't stop during a government shutdown. Mainly what gets affected is a lot of government employees will be furloughed and things of that nature, but when it comes to your benefits, these things should not be affected. But with that said, it's just another example of how dysfunctional and ineffective our government is, where this was supposed to be done 6 months ago, and we're literally looking at another extension. But technically, if this doesn't get done by Friday night, we could experience a government shutdown, which in the middle of tax season is not a good thing at all, especially with millions of families expecting to get a back paid stimulus payment on their taxes by claiming the child tax care credit, which, like we've talked about before, is going to give them a lump sum back paid payment for the first 6 months of 2021. So a shutdown in the middle of tax season would be absolutely terrible, especially this year when we're already expecting a delayed IRS process. So with that said, guys, the good news is either way, this shouldn't affect your benefits. So when you're seeing headlines saying government shutdowns, Social Security benefits could be frozen, that is not true. Even if the government shutdown happened, which it probably won't, your benefits would continue to get paid as normal. Now, the only thing that could potentially affect your benefits would be a government default. That's what we covered a few months ago, but that has since been averted. That's different than a government shutdown. That would not affect your benefits. So, with that said, guys, today was actually a pretty big day in the Senate. We had Democrats and Republicans debating the effects of the Build Back Better stimulus package, how that would affect inflation, and whether or not it would make things worse or actually make inflation better in the short term. Economists are honestly split. Some economists say it would lower inflation short term, and some say it would make things worse. Now, President Biden overall is saying that one of the points of the Build Back Better package, as well as other legislation they're currently trying to get passed, is to try and make more things in America, lowering our supply chain dependency on other countries so we wouldn't experience such high inflation when we have these supply chain issues, right? One of the main reasons things are so expensive is because we're having massive supply chain issues coming from other countries, and that's driving up prices in the United States. If more things were made in America, technically, theoretically, that might not be the case. So, in this clip, this is actually just from this morning in the Senate, we're going to see Democrats argue that the Build Back Better package would make things better and that inflation is mainly being caused by supply chain issues from other countries. Then you're going to see Republicans come out and say that the more stimulus you approve, the worse inflation gets, and the Build Back Better package would only make things worse. So it's going to be a few minutes. It's a really interesting clip showing both sides of the argument, and it gives us a good insight as to what we could expect to happen next. It's always interesting to pull back the curtain and see exactly what Democrats and Republicans are saying in the Senate as they debate such consequential legislation. So, with that said, let's take a quick look, see what they had to say in the Senate, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
America is in the midst of unprecedented economic growth. Our GDP grew by 5.7% last year, the strongest annual growth in 40 years. For the first time in 2 decades, and this is, I think, particularly significant, our economy grew faster than the economy of China. Job creation hit an all-time high. We added 6.4 million jobs last year, an average of more than 500,000 jobs every single month. We saw the fastest drop ever in the unemployment rate. American entrepreneurs started more than 5 million new businesses in 2021, another record. Raw job numbers, of course, don't tell the whole story. They don't tell you how good the job is, what kind of wage it pays. On that front, though, the news is perhaps even better. Wages are rising, particularly for hourly workers who've been left behind in past economic recoveries. Workers are finally starting to share in more of the economic growth that they create. American families' disposable incomes were higher in 2021 than they were before the pandemic, even adjusting for inflation. Assistant Secretary of Treasury Ben Harris said 2 weeks ago, household balance sheets were exceptionally healthy, due in part to the American Rescue Plan, other government pandemic assistance, and brisk wage growth. This progress was possible because of the American Rescue Plan. We promised shots in arms, money in pockets, workers back on the job, and the American Rescue Plan delivered. We know the challenges made. For the progress we've made, we can't deny that many of the people we serve say they don't feel it.
Kitchen table economist. Well, I'll use the term trailer park economist because I was one of those back in the 70s when I saw spiraling inflation, wrong-minded policies from the administration, gas prices that were to a point where I couldn't afford to fill up a 12-gallon gas tank. I was doing it about $5 at a time. That trailer park that I grew up in is still standing in Nashville, and I'll guarantee you, if I went there today and I presented the graphics that are behind the witnesses and said, you're better, right? We've had a historic recovery. We just saw the strongest recovery on record, which was just stated by one of the witnesses a few minutes ago. My guess is they're feeling the same way that I did when failed policies of the past put us in this position. For us to suggest that people are not struggling, for us to suggest that somehow that buying power of those folks that are living in the same trailer park that I did is somehow stronger, just absolutely conflicts with real world experiences that we see out there every single day. If the 55% of the CEOs believe that we have an inflation problem, why is it that you think we don't? Or why is it that you think that this should not be top of mind for President Biden's administration? Why is it, because you've mentioned Build Back Better several times, why is it that you think flooding the zone with even more liquidity today is somehow going to fix the fundamental problems we have with this economy?
Thank you, Senator. So the president is very focused on the concern of price increases. He understands that the price of milk and gas has gone up and that that's a real challenge for families. This is a president who cares about the middle class. That is his whole economic agenda.
If I may, because I want to try and be respectful of the chairman's time, but it just, because I've heard you and others say that Build Back Better is a solution to the problem, but I see several economists who say that it would cause inflationary pressures over the long term. It would take not months or weeks to recover from it, but we would get back maybe to reducing inflation over the course of years. How on earth can we think that that's the right way to go about fixing the real world problems that we have today?
So look, 17 Nobel Prize winning economists agree that Build Back Better is actually the antidote to inflation going forward because it increases economic capacity. It spends out over time.
Excuse me. Economists saying that that could be a matter of years.
All right, folks, so let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think President Biden's agenda has made inflation worse or has been helping along the way? And do you think going forward, getting more of Biden's agenda done would help ease inflation and help the American people, or would only make things worse going forward? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And with that said, folks, I hope you're all having a great day. Don't forget to subscribe. We're going to keep you updated on everything across the board, like Social Security benefits, what's happening with inflation, the economy at large, and politics as well. So thank you so much for watching, and until the next video, take care and have a great day.